I had a great discussion recently with a well-known graffiti artist within our YouTube graffiti space. I'm sure most of you have heard of him. If you have any guesses, put them down there. Anyway, long story short, I was complaining about how this one writer at my local freewall spot that you're going to be seeing some painting footage of today always thinks he can dictate how other people are doing graffiti. And this led Grim and I to have a discussion about if graffiti specifically as an art form is influenced by the culture surrounding graffiti or the traditions, values, rules, and customs of the art, or vice versa. Or is graffiti art and graffiti culture two totally separate things? Oh wait, wait, did I just say Grim? Yeah, I mean, that would make sense because that's who I was talking to, and none of you saw it coming. But yeah, about a month ago, Grim and I had this little chat, and everything's good between us, of course. But it was that chat that's the reason we both have videos coming out for you guys to watch today. Grim and I both want to start a discussion with all of you guys today about if graffiti as an art form is affected by graffiti culture, or if they're just two totally separate things. In fact, at the end of the video, I'll link on screen for you John's video on the topic as well, and it'll of course be in the description for you to check out. So as I get into painting whatever scrap can piece at that free wall you're seeing, let me give you an example of graffiti culture. At this free wall, pretty much everyone agrees that because it's a free wall, the whole wall is fair game. Anyone can paint there, you can paint whatever you want. My personal rule is if you can burn it, or at least come close, you can paint over it. And it's that mutual understanding between graffiti artists that is a rule, that is an aspect of graffiti culture here. It's a rule, value, generally widespread understanding. But if you actually think about it, that rule itself actually has nothing to do with graffiti. That could be the same way that people who paint nothing but smiley faces and roses decide if they can paint over each other's work. The rule itself is actually totally separate from graffiti as an art form. And this is sort of where I'd love to get everyone else's opinions on this, because my next question is, okay, are there any sort of aspects of graffiti culture or rules that directly affect graffiti art as an art form? And I'll tell you what I think, but first I sort of want to make like a loose argument for both sides of the conversation here. And to start, I think it's almost easiest to argue that graffiti as an art form is not affected at all by graffiti culture, simply because graffiti art itself is explicitly directed sort of by artistic concepts, a lot of which Grim explains really well over on the artist block, by the way. But by that logic, because graffiti culture isn't about if you're managing your negative space well, or if your letters create a balanced piece, hell no, it doesn't affect what graffiti art is or does. To put it in visual terms, whatever scrap can piece you're seeing on screen right now that I'm painting, I didn't actually have to consider anything about graffiti culture to paint that piece. But it's not that simple. I painted that piece where I did because the rules of the free wall sort of dictated where I could acceptably paint that piece within the graffiti culture, I mean. And don't get me wrong, that's very different than directly affecting something about a graffiti piece, but I think we're one argument away here about how the environment of an artistic piece is actually part of the piece, or something like that, away from saying now that the culture is affecting graffiti as an art form. So as you can see, we might be on a bit of a slippery slope here. So for the argument specifically that the two are totally separate, the only thing that I think I can say is that graffiti culture doesn't actually have any impact on artistic concepts, obviously. And I swear to God, if any of you are about to say anything about anti-style, you. But on a personal note, I don't think that graffiti art is just the artistic concepts and the letters. Graffiti culture can still dictate a lot of different things about graffiti. For example, even since the days of Taki 183, there has been a mentality that you must get up as much as possible everywhere, or at least that's been a prominent aspect of graffiti culture in the past. And that mentality, although not necessarily related to graffiti art, has influenced where millions and millions of tags, throws, and pieces have been done for 50 plus years. By the way, I think I'm running a sale right now on these shirts. You can check that out. It's down there. But hell, that mentality or aspect of graffiti culture is solely responsible for the birth of the freight and train graffiti scene as a whole. So really what I'm trying to say here is the culture having held that value so high of getting your name up everywhere for so long has influenced the actions of graffiti artists and graffiti writers for a long time. And I think that that is worth something to the art form, if that makes sense. Think of it this way: if graffiti art was just the artistic concepts and the letters involved in it, then it would just be art, I guess. And I don't think graffiti is just art. There are even many graffiti writers who argue that graffiti is not art at all. They're wrong for the most part, but they say that. And because I don't think graffiti is just art, I do think it is graffiti culture that gives it that something more, almost. And I know I'm not enunciating my point probably very clearly at all here, but I think it's the values and culture of graffiti in the past which influences the attitude that graffiti is made with today. And I don't know if that makes graffiti culture part of graffiti art. I'd love to get your opinions on that. But I do know for me, as variable as graffiti artists are as people and as artists, it just feels wrong for graffiti art and the culture surrounding it to be completely independent from one another. And I think there may be some pretty strong argument to be made somewhere about how graffiti culture does influence graffiti art and vice versa, but they become more mutually exclusive over time as the variance between graffiti communities and individual graffiti artists increases. But I'm not interested in trying to figure out how to make that argument. What I am interested in is reading what all of you think about this. Is graffiti art and graffiti culture separate, or are they influenced by each other? Let me know. I guarantee you I will read your comment, show it some love with a reply. And not only that, I know Grim is also going to be interested in all of your opinions as well. So leave a comment down there for him and make sure that you check out his video on the subject as well. It's on screen right now. I haven't seen that video yet, so if you're watching this when this video comes out, I'm probably over there right now watching his video. I will see you guys there. Peace.